Everyone gets 3 corrections in life. No one is told what they're for. It's not written anywhere officially. It's just something people know, the way they know not to touch a boiling kettle twice. A correction doesn't arrive with a sound. There's no announcement, no message on a screen. Most people describe it as a flicker, something just outside their field of vision, like a shadow passing where one shouldn't exist. Others say it feels like pressure behind the eyes, brief but unmistakable, followed by the certainty that something has changed. Only one thing confirms it: a number, appearing for less than a second where you weren't looking. People react differently the first time. Some stop mid-sentence. Some blink hard and keep going. A few smile, not because they're happy, but because smiling feels safer than not. The city doesn't explain corrections. It doesn't deny them either. It simply allows the system to function, quietly and consistently. For Elias Venn, corrections were paperwork. He worked on the 8th floor of the Department of Behavioral Review, a narrow building with frosted windows and lighting that never quite matched the time of day outside. His role wasn't to decide who was corrected or why. That part was automated. His job was to confirm them, to verify that a correction had occurred, timestamp it, and release the record into permanent storage. It was, as his supervisor liked to say, administrative hygiene. Elias believed that distinction mattered. He wasn't causing harm, he told himself. He was documenting it, making sure the system remained accurate. There was comfort in that separation, a clean line between action and acknowledgement. The office treated corrections the way other workplaces treated minor injuries or sick days, quietly, with just enough humor to keep fear from settling in. Someone had taped a handwritten sign above the break room sink. First one's free. Another listed the longest-running employees who had reached retirement age with only 1 correction logged. People spoke about them in lowered voices, as if restraint were a kind of talent. But no one joked about the 3rd correction. Once a year, during compliance refresh, a training video played on a loop in the common area. Elias barely noticed it anymore. Corrections are not punishments, the narrator said calmly. They are alignment tools. Elias processed an average of 47 confirmations a day. Most were unremarkable. Name, ID, timestamp, confirmation stamp, done. The system never attached reasons, only results. That was why the woman's file stood out. Her name was Mara Ionescu, 34, no prior record. Correction count, 2. Elias paused, fingers hovering above the console. Second corrections weren't rare, but they were uncommon enough to draw attention. What unsettled him was the infraction field. It was blank. No flagged behavior, no deviation marker, no predictive variance report. Just a quiet confirmation request waiting for his approval. He checked again, then again. The system didn't glitch. He confirmed the correction. Her ID photo remained on his screen longer than most. Sharp cheekbones, dark hair pulled too tight, a faint tension around the mouth, the look of someone accustomed to stopping themselves just short of speaking. The image followed him longer than he expected. That afternoon, Elias found himself lingering outside the building after his shift ended. He told himself he was waiting for foot traffic to thin, that the day had left him tired. In truth, his attention kept drifting back to the file, to the absence where an explanation should have been. When he saw her walk past, it took a moment to register why the sight felt wrong. The same face from the photo, now moving through the crowd with careful precision, not slow, just deliberate, as if each step required approval. He didn't follow her at first. He started walking the same direction as everyone else, letting the distance hold. It was only when she stopped abruptly, as if reconsidering her path, that he slowed too. When someone spoke to her, she nodded but didn't answer. Her mouth opened once, then closed again. As she passed a mirrored storefront, she turned her head sharply away. Elias felt a faint pressure behind his eyes, not a correction, but the echo of one. After that day, he started noticing patterns. Not faces, but statuses instead. The internal dashboards at work didn't show names, but they did train employees to recognize indicators, posture changes, hesitation markers, speech edits. People with one correction left carried themselves differently, as if aware of invisible margins. They chose seats near exits. They avoided sudden gestures. Conversations with them felt rehearsed, cautious, trimmed of anything unnecessary. They apologized constantly. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Sorry, I should rephrase. Sorry, forget I said that." No one explained why. No one asked. The city ran smoother that way. Corrections were discussed in neutral tones on the news. Statistical updates, trend lines. Behavioral stabilization remains within optimal parameters. The anchor never smiled during those segments. One afternoon, Elias was finalizing a batch of confirmations when the room seemed to dim. Not the lights exactly, but the space around them. He felt it before he saw it. A brief tightening behind his eyes, a sense of misalignment. Then, in the corner of his vision, something flickered. One. It was gone almost instantly. Elias froze. The console chimed softly. He accessed his personal record with hands that felt distant, unreal. The interface loaded with its usual sterile calm. Correction count, 1. Status, confirmed. No explanation, no reason listed, just confirmation. Around him, the office continued as normal. Someone laughed quietly at a screen. A printer hummed. No alarm sounded. No one turned to look at him. Elias stared at the number until his vision blurred. He tried to recall what he'd done, what he might have said, thought, hesitated over. Nothing stood out. That frightened him more than if something had. He minimized the window, returned to his work, but the separation he'd relied on, the clean line between observer and subject, was gone. And now, like many others, he had 2 corrections left. Having 2 corrections left didn't feel like danger at first. It felt like learning how to move without being noticed. Elias didn't wake up the morning after his correction expecting anything to be different. There was no pressure behind his eyes, no number waiting in the corners of his vision. He became aware of pauses, the ones he used to ignore. How long he hesitated before answering a simple question. How often he reconsidered the exact word he meant to use, then decided a different word would attract less attention. It was not fear, not yet, but it had weight, and it stayed. At work, nothing changed officially. His access remained intact. His workload was unchanged. No supervisor called him in. The office continued its narrow rhythm, screens refreshing, keys tapping, printers humming, as if nothing had happened. But Elias noticed the way people looked away a fraction sooner than they used to. Not from him exactly, but from the idea of him. Those with clean records still spoke freely, still laughed with the careless timing of people who didn't count their own expressions. They filled space with opinions, with unfinished sentences, with confidence that the system would let them remain uncorrected. Elias envied them the way someone envies people who don't think before they speak. He stopped eating lunch in the common area. Conversation carried too many variables. Tone could slip. A joke could land too late or too early. A reaction could be misread. He ate at his desk instead, where the only thing expected of him was completion. Unfinished things began to feel irresponsible. He started noticing the same restraint in others. People, especially with only one correction left, didn't cluster. They chose seats near exits, avoided corners where hesitation might look like indecision. They apologized constantly. Elias caught himself doing it once, alone in his apartment, after dropping a glass into the sink too loudly. "Sorry," he whispered, to no one. He saw Mara again 3 days later. She was outside a transit terminal, eyes fixed on the schedule display. When the platform number changed, she didn't move immediately, just a fraction of a second, the smallest delay, the kind the department's training modules called a hesitation marker. Then she stepped forward. She crossed the platform last, keeping careful distance from the people around her. When someone brushed past her shoulder, she flinched, not from contact, but from the unpredictability of it. Elias remained where he was. He didn't follow her. He didn't need to. Elias started seeing it everywhere. One afternoon, Elias noticed a co-worker's desk had been cleared. Not emptied, but reassigned. The chair was still warm when the replacement sat down. No announcement was made. No explanation offered. The nameplate disappeared as if it had never belonged there at all. Elias checked the internal directory later, telling himself it was routine, that he was only making sure the assignment had been logged correctly. The employee's status had been updated, reclassified. The word didn't link anywhere. No procedural note followed. It sat there in the same font as everything else, calm and final. After that, Elias began to really see them. Not often, but enough to notice the difference. A man stood perfectly still at a bus stop, hands resting flat at his sides, gaze fixed forward. He didn't check the arrival board. When the bus arrived, he boarded without hesitation and took the first available seat. He didn't look relieved. He didn't look satisfied. He looked empty. At the office, a woman from compliance support was reassigned to a windowless room near records. Elias passed her once in the hallway. She walked with steady confidence, eyes forward, expression untroubled by uncertainty. She didn't apologize when she nearly collided with him. She didn't hesitate at all. That night, Elias slept poorly. Dreams felt unsafe. He woke often with his mind blank and his heart racing, unsure what he'd been thinking just before consciousness returned. He began avoiding mirrors, not because he feared his reflection, but because of the space around it, the way he caught himself softening expressions, adjusting posture, correcting micro-movements he wasn't sure anyone was watching. The system didn't need cameras everywhere. People were learning to supply their own. Elias found himself completing tasks he might once have abandoned, finishing sentences he would have left hanging, avoiding questions whose answers might complicate things. Curiosity felt indulgent now, dangerous even. One evening, on his way home, he saw the man from the bus stop again. This time, Elias noticed something else. The man wasn't just waiting. It struck Elias with sudden certainty. The man wasn't choosing to be calm. Calm had been chosen for him. Elias stood on the sidewalk longer than he should have, watching the man remain perfectly where he was meant to be. He understood then, not fully, but enough. Reclassification wasn't removal. It wasn't punishment. It was resolution. A way of taking people who still hesitated, who still adjusted, who still lived in the margins of choice, and smoothing them down until nothing unnecessary remained. The city didn't erase them. It finished them. Elias turned away before anyone could notice he'd been staring. He walked the rest of the way home with his hands at his sides, his pace even, his face neutral. Not because he wanted to, because he had begun to understand what the system corrected. And for the first time since his number appeared, he caught himself wondering something he couldn't afford to wonder for long. When the third correction comes, does it fix you? Does it complete you? The second correction didn't arrive because Elias made a mistake. It arrived because he noticed one. The morning it happened, felt unremarkable at first. Elias arrived at work on time. He logged in. He reviewed his queue. He followed the careful rules he had been following for weeks now, since the first correction. Complete tasks fully. Avoid hesitation. Do not linger. He told himself he was stable. The trouble began when he recognized an anomaly he wasn't supposed to see. 3 confirmations passed through his queue in less than a minute. Same department, same routing tag, all marked complete before he touched them. That shouldn't have been possible. Elias didn't flag it. He didn't slow the process. He didn't open a report window. He simply looked until the system paused. Just long enough for him to feel it. The familiar tightening behind his eyes. Sharper this time, more precise. The flicker appeared in the edge of his vision, brighter than before. 2. It didn't vanish right away. The console chimed. Correction count, 2. Status, confirmed. Elias didn't move. Around him, the office continued its quiet rhythm. Screens refreshed. Someone coughed slightly. A printer hummed as if nothing irreversible had just occurred. A warning indicator appeared at the corner of his interface. Predictive variance increased. Monitoring adjusted. Elias minimized the window. Carefully. Too carefully. From that moment on, fear sharpened into something else. Urgency. He felt it everywhere. In the way he walked. In the way he spoke. In the way he monitored his own thoughts before they finished forming. 2 corrections meant 1 left. There was no room for accidents now. A co-worker approached him that afternoon. Her name was Lisa Cade. Elias knew this because he'd confirmed her second correction months earlier. He remembered the file, not because it had been unusual, but because it hadn't been. Efficient, accurate, unremarkable. She stood beside his desk without announcing herself. "You're quieter lately," she said. It wasn't an accusation. It wasn't concern. It was an observation, delivered the way someone might comment on the weather. Elias looked up slowly. "I'm working." "So am I," Lisa said. She smiled briefly. "That's the point." There was something unsettling about her calm. Not the absence of fear, but the absence of hesitation. She didn't soften her tone, didn't apologize for interrupting him. "I saw the update," she continued. "Your count." Elias felt his pulse quicken. "You shouldn't." "I shouldn't mention it," she finished for him. "Or you shouldn't think about it." He didn't answer. Lisa glanced around the office, then back at him. "You're doing fine," she said. "Better than most." "Is that supposed to help?" Elias asked. She considered the question, genuinely. "It helped me." That was when Elias noticed it. The subtle shift in her posture, the stillness, the way she occupied space without adjusting to it. She wasn't careful. She was certain. "What happens next?" Elias asked quietly. Lisa's expression softened, not with sympathy, but with something closer to relief. "You stop wasting energy," she said, "on things that don't resolve." She turned and walked away before he could respond. Elias didn't see her hesitate, even once. That night, he accessed the system from home. He knew he shouldn't. He knew curiosity was dangerous, but knowing something was dangerous wasn't the same as not needing to know it. He didn't search for reclassification directly. That would have been too obvious. Instead, he traced metadata, routing tags, process histories. He followed the gaps, the places where information ended too cleanly, where explanations had been replaced by outcomes. The word appeared again, reclassified. This time, it linked somewhere. Not to a document or a procedure, but to a category. Optimization outcomes. Elias scrolled. The page wasn't long. It didn't need to be. Most of the content had been replaced with neutral placeholders and approval stamps. But one line remained visible, unremarkable in its phrasing. Reclassification is not a corrective measure. Elias felt the tightening behind his eyes intensify. It is the resolution of sustained variance. His hands hovered above the keyboard. He didn't scroll further. He didn't need to. Sustained variance. Hesitation, adjustment, self-correction, the constant friction of choosing. The system wasn't punishing people for mistakes. It was finishing those who couldn't stop adjusting. Elias leaned back in his chair, breath shallow, mind racing faster than it had in weeks. He thought of Mara, of the man at the bus stop, of Lisa's calm certainty, of how tired he was. The interface dimmed. A notification appeared at the edge of the screen, not an alert, just a reminder. Monitoring level increased. Elias closed the window. In the dark reflection of the screen, he saw his own face, tense, unfinished, still adjusting, still unresolved. He understood now why the third correction wasn't feared the way the first two were. It wasn't a warning. It was what the system was building toward all along. And Elias had just proven he was still asking questions. After the second correction, Elias began to move faster. Not outwardly. His pace remained even, his posture neutral, his expression carefully unremarkable. But something accelerated inside him, thoughts he could no longer slow. Understanding had changed the shape of fear. The system wasn't arbitrary. It wasn't cruel, because it didn't need to be. It was complete. That realization settled over Elias slowly, impossible to ignore. The third correction no longer felt distant. It felt patient, waiting for him to arrive at it on his own. Elias told himself there was still time. He reviewed files with new urgency, tracing outcomes backward instead of forward. He stopped looking for causes and began studying endpoints. Reclassified individuals appeared again and again in the same places, roles that required execution, not judgment. Transit coordination, records maintenance, archival verification. Positions where hesitation would only interfere. He noticed something else too. The system never rushed them. People didn't get pushed toward reclassification. They drifted there. Lisa spoke to him again 3 days later. She didn't sit. She didn't ask if she could talk. She stood beside his desk, hands folded loosely, gaze steady. "You're tired," she said. Elias didn't deny it. I'm running out of room. Lisa smiled. Not kindly, not unkindly. You're framing it wrong. Then explain it, Elias said. The edge in his voice surprised him. He corrected himself immediately. She shook her head. That wouldn't help. Why not? Because you're still thinking in terms of loss, she said. That's not what happens. Elias watched her carefully. Then what does? Lisa was quiet for a moment. You stop carrying what you don't need, she said. You stop correcting yourself before you're corrected. That sounds like giving up. It felt like resting, she replied. The word stayed with him long after she walked away. Resting. That night, Elias accessed the system again. He didn't hide it this time. There was no point. Monitoring had already adjusted. He could feel it, the way his thoughts seemed to brush against something just before fully forming. He navigated directly to the category he'd avoided before. Optimization outcomes. Most of the page was still redacted, but enough remained now to suggest shape, if not detail. Charts showing variance reduction over time, behavioral smoothing metrics, notes indicating successful resolution, and beneath them, a single line that hadn't been there before. The third correction is applied when sustained variance reaches diminishing returns. Diminishing returns. The phrase wasn't threatening, it was practical. Elias leaned back in his chair and laughed. He understood it now. The system didn't need to remove people. It didn't need to silence them, or erase them, or lock them away. It waited until they were exhausted, until the effort of choosing outweighed the benefit, until resolution became preferable to resistance. Elias closed the interface and stared at his reflection in the darkened screen. He looked thin, taut, unfinished, still correcting himself. The next day, he arrived at work early. He moved through security without incident, logged in, took his seat. The office greeted him with its usual muted hum. Lisa was already there. So were the others. Reclassified employees didn't cluster. They didn't need to. They existed in their assigned spaces, efficient and untroubled, moving when required, and stopping when it wasn't. Elias watched them with a strange mix of envy and grief. He spent the morning completing tasks without interruption. No hesitation, no revision. He didn't overthink phrasing, didn't smooth expressions. For the first time in weeks, the effort eased just a little. The flicker came just after noon. There was no pressure behind his eyes this time, no warning, no sense of misalignment, just a quiet certainty, complete and unquestioned. 3. The number appeared clearly, then disappeared. The console chimed. Correction count 3. Status reclassified. Elias didn't panic. He didn't reach for anything, didn't look around, didn't wait for someone to escort him away. Nothing happened. Around him, the office continued. Screens refreshed, keys tapped. Someone laughed briefly, then stopped. Elias felt something lift. The constant internal monitoring, the need to adjust, to pause, to reconsider, now dissolved. Thoughts arrived fully formed. Movements followed intention without friction. He stood when the system prompted him to stand. He walked when it directed him to walk. His new assignment populated his interface smoothly. Behavioral confirmation, level A. He sat down at a different desk. The work was familiar. Confirmations, timestamps, accuracy checks. What his supervisor used to call administrative hygiene. The distinction he'd once relied on, observer, and subject no longer mattered. It wasn't necessary. Lisa passed by once. She nodded, a small acknowledgement between equals. Elias returned it. At the end of the day, he shut down his terminal and left the building with the others, his steps even, his expression neutral, his thoughts unburdened by choice. For the first time since the number appeared, Elias felt complete. Everyone gets 3 corrections in life. After that, you stop needing them.